Hi everyone, this is Cherry Enchantress with your daily dust for Thursday, July 27th, if you're watching in real time, but it also can be for whenever you stumble upon it. It's also a timeless reading. And I'm back with the Enchanted Romance Tarot that I designed because we're in a love tarot romance, love and romance tarot and oracle month. So that's my theme. It's coming to a close pretty soon. Soon I'll be doing your August reading. Can you believe it? Okay, let's see what we get. Ooh, you got the Chariot. It's Hades and Persephone. And Six of Swords. Looks like some traveling. Chariot's all about traveling. And the Tower. Okay, interesting. All right, let's zoom on in and see what we get. Okay, so this has a reverse feeling to it. Like, usually from the left to the right, left being current energy or energy going out, to the right being future energy or energy that we're going into. And because it's a daily message, it could be all of this happening in one day, right? So therefore, it's not quite as intense as it could be if it was just one fateful day. But sometimes you have those days, right? Sometimes you have one fateful day. So we can take it, let's take it first as a big message, something that you've been dealing with and something that's going to change. There is this, I feel like this chariot is a really good message. Generally, it's about triumph, and it's about success, and it's about choosing a direction and going full force with it. But because I decided to depict Hades and Persephone, there is that underlying story of them where they only get to be together 6 months of the year because of an agreement. It's a long story, but anyway, basically it's because of an agreement that Hades made with Persephone's mother, and it has something to do with the reason why we have spring and winter and seasons. Anyway, look that up for yourself for your own enjoyment. But it doesn't have to be about that story necessarily, but there is kind of an energy of that story there. An energy that there could be travel to and from a person. Sometimes there could be like a long distance relationship. There could be a separation of sorts at times, and sometimes togetherness. There could be a bit of an obsessive energy too. More sometimes there's love. Sometimes when it gets a little bit intense, it turns a little bit obsessive. So I get some of those undercurrent energies here. But overall, it's victory. It's a good willpower. It's focus. It's like an unstoppable drive, which is the positive kind of way of explaining obsessiveness. It's sort of unstoppable. And self-confidence is great until it goes into too much of ego, right? Success and control of yourself and having a light of self-possession is really great until it becomes too much ego. So we don't have the devil here. It's not the devil, but the Tower is here, I feel like, warning us, don't push it too far, don't push the success too far. The Six of Swords feels a little bit more go with the flow. And then the drawing that's used for the Six of Swords is also a little ambiguous too, because it's the Lady Charlotte. She's actually not feeling well, or this energy of she's traveling, but not into like this happy mind space. She's traveling into a dark mind space. So it almost feels like a little bit of a warning. Let me just say, I don't usually predict negative things, but because we have the Tower in the last position here, some of you should be cautious about certain things. So it could be something really minor. It could be just, your tire goes bad or something like that. But it does feel like something having to do with travel. There could be like a little damper in something that causes travel not to continue as smoothly as you hoped because of the Tower here. So on this particular day, maybe it's best if you don't drive or fly if you can help it. But of course, especially don't go on a boat. But if you can't help it, I mean, life goes on, and we do things through all kinds of lunar phases and astrological phases and whatnot. We just have to know how to navigate so that we are able to face the things that come our way with an open mind and ability to react to it without overreacting. The Tower can also represent emotions and overreacting to things as well. So that could be, something to take into consideration. Today could be one of those days that you just, you didn't get the news that you wanted to get. You get very disappointed or something, and maybe you take it to the extreme, and that happens sometimes. We can't always be in our spiritual high level energy, higher self-minded awareness. There's times where we just flow into this negative space, and that can happen. And I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't, sometimes you just have to experience it. Just be aware that sometimes our emotions will go to that place, our thoughts will go to that place, and sometimes, like, this reading can be awareness that it can happen. I watched a video, it was like a daily kind of reading from Gregory Scott once, and it had sort of a similar message about, watch your conversations with people, whatever. There is a chance that you could take things the wrong way or something like that. And it helped me so much be more aware that day. Some days you just go on and you don't think anything. Some days you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. In other words, you wake up kind of cranky. You don't know why, but you're just feeling cranky. So the whole day you may take things differently than you would if you woke up cheerfully, or whatever. So just be aware of that. Like, if it's a day energy, if it's bigger than a day, if it's like you've been having great success and doing a great job, you've been going with the flow, everything seems to be going good, and then it just seems like maybe something shifts in your mind where you're just like, what? I can't believe this happened. I thought everything was going so great, So the Tower can sometimes represent breakups or fights or arguments or just things going differently than you expected. Your expectations don't always match what you're attracting, because I feel like sometimes your victories or the good energy that you put out there, when you overdo it a little bit, this sounds a little strange, but when you almost overdo that energy, it's almost like you're going back into doubt. Because if you're having to repeat all this over and over and over again, it's like, why this should just be your norm. This is what you believe. If you have to keep reminding yourself, then it's like you're seeing yourself. Let's say, for example, you're doing meditations or whatever to have money inflow or something like that. And if you keep doing that over and over again, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like at some point it seems like you still see yourself in lack, because you still are asking for the money. You're still asking universe for the money instead of just being in in abundance, you're still like asking for abundance. So even the asking for abundance, even if it's in a positive meditative kind of way, still kind of expressing the lack that they're still in there somewhere in your subconscious mind. And it's important to release that, so that you release that and truly feel like it's a very delicate situation, but and especially if you have a lot of outside influences that are kind of coming at you in ways that make it hard for you to have faith. But just keep so some of it is like, don't be in denial of the negative things, but be aware of them and appreciate everything that happens, no matter what it is, and try to find the silver lining in things. Oh yeah, sometimes there's just going to be days where it's like, what? What's going on here? And you know, there's just days you're just not going to be super successful. Like some days you feel like you're triumphing, and then you're like, what? So this feels almost to me like when we have Mercury in retrograde, or the shadow phase before Mercury goes to retrograde, where something just random happens that seems so Mercury retrograde. So you know what to do when Mercury turns retrograde. We all know what to do. We are all just more cautious. We make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's and take a few more minutes to leave the house. You know, don't try to rush ourselves. Try to give us plenty of time. Make sure we take extra care for everything. So this could just be one of those days where you got to wake up and take a little extra care for everything, so it doesn't have to get to this point. So I'm just kind of helping you not to get to the tower. But then if the tower actually does happen, how you react to the tower is also the second challenge. Or so you can, you can grieve, you can get angry, you can get sad, but don't let it get too far. Don't let it go too far, because you just try to put it in perspective of everything. Maybe is it really all that big compared to everything that's the world at large? Then the other thing that could happen here, you guys, and it kind of interesting, speaking of the world at large, so much of our lives can also be social things, social media, things we see on TV. So sometimes it's something that you're watching on TV that could be playing out here too, or watching amongst your friends being played out as well. So be aware of that. You could say, wow, they're such a great couple. Maybe they're a little bit intense with each other, but they seem, like they're doing so great and going with it, and then something happens to them. So it doesn't even have to necessarily be something that directly affects you as either, especially because the Chariot and the Tower are both major arcana, and the major arcana is like outside influences, and the outside influences are your world at large. They can affect you, but they can also affect other people around you, which ultimately affects you, right? Especially if it's somebody that you love and they've been hurt, then you feel sad for them as well. So just keep those things in mind. And so you got those two challenges. Just be prepared and make sure you do extra care to face the day. And then when or if anything challenging like a tower moment happens, then know how to react to it. And it may not be about you. It may be about somebody else. So maybe it's a day where you need to reach out to somebody and help them get over their tower moment as well. All right. Because see, it's interesting, like she's watching the shipwreck from a distance, So in most tower cards, you'll see the building and people jumping out of the building, and she's not actually affected by the storm, but her emotions are affected because of the storm. So yeah, so keep that in consideration. All right, and I hope you like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.